Welcome to Nomad's Tactical. I'm Dennis Weimer, your host, owner, and director of training. Today we're going to talk about home defense weapons. Now, a pistol is probably the easiest to transport around the house. An AR-15 is not a good idea unless you live in the country. Because an AR-15, when you shoot in your house, if you had to shoot in your house, is going to go through the drywall, through the studs, through your siding, and into your neighbor's house, and probably pass through that house. We want something that's going to stay on our property. Now, a shotgun is very, very lethal out to about 15 to 20 yards. Beyond that, the lethality drops off greatly because the bullets spread, the BBs spread and lose a lot of energy very quickly. So in your house, down the hallway, think of how long your hallway is. In a big house, you might have a 10-yard hallway. Well, the spread of a shotgun in a 10-yard hallway is going to be roughly about a foot, maybe 14 inches. So you don't have to get an exact aim on a bad guy, and you're still going to do a severe amount of damage. The BBs then are going to stop very quickly in your drywall. They're not probably going to leave your house. So a shotgun is a great home defense gun. Now, when it comes to caliber, I recommend a 20 gauge youth pump shotgun. And I say youth pump because youth is shorter, so the overall length is shorter, which makes it easier to get around through your house. Okay, you get your long goose gun, you get that real long barrel, makes it hard to go through doorways. So 20 gauge, because a 12 gauge, which is the most common, okay, but if you have a spouse or children in the house that are not avid shooters, a 12 gauge is going to be a lot of wallop for them. And so a 20 gauge makes it easier for them to manage. Now, I say a pump because a semi-auto shotgun requires a shoulder weld, okay, or to be able to hang onto it, so when you shoot, it can recoil enough for the action to cycle. Just like on our pistol. If we're not holding forward pressure on our pistol, that slide is not going to operate like it has to, and you're going to get one shot, or you're going to get a stovepipe or type 1, type 2 malfunction. So, a semi-auto shotgun requires you to push on it. Now, your 10-year-old child or your daughter or your wife is probably going to hold the gun at their side, at their hip to shoot, which means when they shoot, the gun's going to move a lot more than it should, and that action is not going to reliably cycle to get shot number 2 or 3 or 47 off. So, a pump does not require any forward pressure. You could hold it like this and pull the trigger, and it's going to shoot reliably. Now, what's nice about a pump shotgun is how we can make this safe for kids. So, we would load our magazine. Generally, they hold 5 rounds in the magazine. Okay. So, in order then to open the slide, if we haven't pulled the trigger, you have to hit the magic button, okay, which will release the pump. A shell will come back in the chamber. So now we take that shell out. Okay, so the shell is out. Now the chamber is empty, okay, but our magazine is still loaded. The tube magazine is still loaded. So this is how we would store the gun with kids around. So it could be up high where kids can't get a hold of it, okay, and with the safety turned on. Now, for a kid to grab this gun in order to hurt themselves with it, what they would have to do is they would then have to grab the gun, run the pump forward, they would have to turn the safety off, they would have to pull the trigger, then they would have to pump it again, which is going to put a shell into the chamber, and then pull the trigger. There's a lot of steps for a young child to figure out to make the gun operate. Now, your 12-year-old, whatever, they should have been to the range by now. They should understand what they're doing, and going through those steps, they know they're making the gun hot. Now, for you then, as a parent, what we can do is, with that gun stored like that, with rounds in the magazine, we run the pump back, remember, so we put that round in there, and we take that round out, so the chamber is empty, but the tube magazine is still loaded. So now, when you grab the gun, okay, and you need it in an emergency, all you have to do is grab one round that you have sitting up on a high shelf, top of a door jamb or something like that, and drop it in the chamber. All you have to do is drop it in the right direction. When you run that pump forward, you have now loaded that gun, it's ready to shoot. You can turn the safety off, and shoot. So now you are loaded and ready to go at a moment's notice, but it makes it very tough for the kids to get hold of. Now, I do a shotgun class that's about an hour long that will make you very proficient in using your shotgun. Again, what I try to teach is the minimum number of steps to get your desired end point. Come out and see us. Remember your ABCs. Always be carrying.